Hello and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is a feature of the channel where you guys leave lots of comments on the channel and I attempt to answer those comments, or if I can't answer those comments, I throw it out to you guys who have more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do. So let's get into the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. The next comment or question comes from Matteo Wolf. Walsh? I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I am the world's worst person at pronouncing names. Talk to anybody I work with. This is in response to Brexit mucked up buying from Thomann, a video I did in March 2022. And he said, it goes the other way around. I used to buy gear on eBay from the UK, rack-mounted synths mostly, because the prices and selection were better than in mainland Europe. Now with import duties, it's no longer viable. And I guess it does. But thank you for the European perspective on this. And I think Brexit has a lot to answer for. I'm not going to tell you what my position on Brexit was. But I think the politicians have made a complete cock-up of Brexit. On one side, there's the desire for the UK to leave the European Union, but maintain a trading relationship, which was kind of what we signed up for in the first place. Whereas on the other side, I think there was a number of people in Europe that decided that they were going to punish Britain for leaving and setting the wheels in motion for a number of other states to contemplate the same thing. So they were trying to make it as hard as possible so that the other states didn't. That's kind of my personal take on the Brexit negotiations, if I'm brutally honest. But it's even worse that many of the trading platforms have been adding customs and VAT charges at a point of checkout, not at the point you're bidding on the item. So you can merrily bid on the item, you win the item, all of a sudden they whack another 20% on top of it, and then they whack another X amount on top of it for duty and customs, and your bid all of a sudden becomes 130% your bid rather than 100% your bid, and I think that's kind of wrong. I think they should be displaying the cost of the item in the bid. I think that would probably make a number of trading platforms break, if I'm brutally honest. But you don't find out until you've won the item, and then it might be that the fact that adding the 20% and whatever else actually breaks the bid. You have to go back to the vendor or the seller and turn around and say, I'm sorry, I can't afford this because of customs and VAT. From my perspective, I'm glad that Thomann has now got its UK subsidiary in place. So what Thomann did is that when you go onto their website and you order something from Thomann, which I did at the beginning of 2022, I ordered a couple of bits from Thomann, and rather than actually having funny business with couriers and VAT and duty and stuff like that, Thomann actually has a UK trading arm now. And even though they supply the goods from Germany, everything is now built in as if it was a UK sale. So you pay VAT, you pay delivery charges, all that stuff is done. And when you see the price on screen, that price on screen is the price you pay. Unlike what we used to have, which is you buy £1,000 synthesizer and all of a sudden you get a £200 bill from the courier company, plus import duty at X%, plus, and this is the bit that always gets me, they add on a £10 or an £8 or a £12 admin fee for sending you a letter. So anyway, the Thomann route is back on the table, and that's a good thing. Next comment or question comes from Sean C. In response to MX1 digital channel, MX1 suitable for DJ. That was a mailbag I did in March 2022. And Sean writes, the Roland DJ 808 includes the TRS drum sequencer. so a TRS would not add anything else to the rig. I'm not sure the MX1 will add anything either to this rig, unless you're adding other ARIA gear. However, as a DJ, I would recommend the SP404 Mark II. You'll be able to build beats, melodies and harmonies and bass lines by chopping samples and pitching as needed. Also, the effects on the SP404 Mark II are amazing. They're perfect for building live act sets. RCA output, scream, DJ rig. Yeah, anytime you see RCA outputs, you think it's not designed for a professional recording studio, and people are going to scream at me for that, but that's reality. It's, you know, the line levels, etc. Anyway, so you'll have no troubles in integrating it into your DJ rig. If you're looking for a deal, go with a used SP404 Mark I, which will save a little bit of money, as the Mark II came out at the end of last year and everybody was trying to get rid of their Mark Is to upgrade to a Mark II. I have no information, well, very limited experience of the SP404, apart from a load of people rave about it. They really do. The DJ 808 is an instrument that I've never really looked at either, if I'm brutally honest. I've no need for it. It's one of those instruments that, unless somebody was going to lend me it so I could do a review on it, and that be someone like Roland or a supplier or something like that, another supplier, the reality is I can see no need for buying it, and therefore as pennies are limited, it's not going to come in my direction. I have other things to spend my pennies on. I always thought the drum machine on the DJ8 was closer to TR8, I have to be honest, but as opposed to the TR8S. But it's good to know that it is actually based on the TR8S. So the TR8 was the first of the those drum modules in the ARIA range. The DJ808 was another module from, I'm not sure, is the DJ808 an ARIA or is it just a module from Roland? And then you had the TR8S that obviously replaced the TR8. So possibly they took the logic that was in the T and in the GJ808 and moved it across. Very, very possible. But honestly, I say the 404 never really springs to mind when I'm thinking about this. But you know, your comment really enforces the fact that there is a train of thought here that the 404 is a valid instrument in this space, and it's probably well worth, if you're in that space as a sort of DJ drum beat groove maker, that the 404 might be a good source, especially as a sampler. Now this is where I've heard people talk about the 404, the SP404 in very favourably, is its sampling capabilities. And it's as Sean mentions, the ability to chop and edit samples that are put into the memory and then bounce them down. It's quite powerful for that sort of stuff. You can do stuff very, very quickly. So I understand, but as I say, I don't have one, so that's all kind of conjecture and hearsay from what I read and what I hear on various interweb channels.